buy smaller, cheaper carriers rather than the $13 billion Ford-class behemoth it is currently constructing, according to a new study by Rand Corporation. But smaller and cheaper means reduced capability and could prevent the Navy from fighting in hostile waters or providing the air support for ground operations. The Rand study is a public version of a classified study conducted in 2016 at the behest of the U.S. Navy, which was ordered by Congress to examine cheaper options than the Ford-class carriers. The CVN-8X, a slightly stripped-down version of the 100,000-ton Ford-class carriers. It would be powered by 40-year nuclear reactors that couldn't be replaced, rather than the current 25-year reactors on the Fords that can be replaced to extend the life of the ship. It would be also equipped with 3 rather than 4 catapults. The CVN-LX, a 70,000-ton carrier closer to the old Forrestal-class ships of the 1950s, the Navy's first supercarriers. They would be propelled by hybrid nuclear conventional engines with 1 reactor instead of 2 on the Nimitz and Ford-class ships. It could still carry a large air wing and would still be more capable than the Nimitz carriers, but it would slower and less survivable than the Fords, nor could its air wing generate as many sorties. The CV-LX, a 43,000-ton conventional powered variant of the new American-class amphibious assault ships or helicopter carriers. Lacking catapults, they could only carry 25 F-35B and only generate around 50 sorties a day without airborne early warning or electronic warfare aircraft. It would require support from either a legacy carrier or land-based joint assets. It can operate in areas where air defense threats are not significant or in company with a battle force. The CV-LX is not the capability of choice as the first on-scene responder because it lacks an integrated air wing and in particular lacks AEW and AE, that's airborne early warning and electronic attack. The CVEX, a small 20,000-ton baby carrier that would be conventionally powered and could only accommodate 6 to 10 short takeoff aircraft, similar to the Italian carrier Cavour. The CVEX would be the cheapest option at $2.5 billion a vessel, but Rand estimates that 4 CV-LX carriers would be needed to generate the same capability as a single Ford-class ship. The CVEX has all the limitations of the CV-LX with a much smaller flight deck, fuel, and magazine capability, and would therefore have to be used either as a responder to low-level contingencies or in conjunction with the legacy CVN, Rand concludes. Rand was careful not to endorse a particular option, but the report makes clear that less capability is the price tag for lower shipbuilding cost. For example, to launch conventional fixed-wing aircraft such as F-35C, a carrier must be large enough to have space for catapults and arresting gear. A smaller carrier would launch short takeoff F-35Bs and helicopters, but then it wouldn't be able to launch E-2 radar aircraft and AE-18 electronic warfare planes. In turn, carriers that have less capabilities will affect how the U.S. wage war, such as relying on carrier-based air support when operating far from U.S. airfields and land-based aircraft. It's true that getting what's in the Ford-class capability requires Ford-class investment. Brad Martin, a retired Navy captain and one of the Rand researchers who wrote the study, told TNI, "The alternatives are offered as less costly, but we are clear that there is diminishment in capability that Navy would need to evaluate. Some losses of capabilities might not be critical. Lower sortie generation rate, for example, but others might be much more so. So what's the best option? There isn't one. Either the Navy ends the large carriers that aren't that much different than a Ford, or small carriers with radical less capabilities.